I'm gonna make something yummy today. Can you guess by looking at the ingredients? I'm getting ready to make pho, some beef pho with all this yummy meat. This is sriracha. I went with this brand because it's small and I don't eat a lot of it, but I gotta have it in my pho. So I picked up all this stuff this morning after work. Today's Sunday morning. I'm on call today, so I don't know. Should I chance it? Should I go ahead and make this and risk losing sleep in case I'm called in? Or wait until tomorrow? I just don't know. I'm super hungry for this too. Like, all I've been craving is beef pho. I've never tried these, this brand of ramen, but the kids like it, so I figured I'd pick some of that up for the next time they come over. I was thinking I'd maybe go get them, feed them this dinner when it's cooked, because they love ramen, so why wouldn't they love pho, right? Anyway, I went to Wegmans first because it's right next door to my ER, and picked up these soup bones. They didn't have any oxtail. I was looking for oxtail over there, but it probably would have been more expensive at Wegmans anyway. So I got these soup bones, which were not too expensive. $5 for that one, $8 for that one. It's slightly larger. And then oxtail are pretty darn expensive, so I only got one pack, and then I supplemented it with some beef short rib. Everything needs the bone. This is the only thing that doesn't have bone. Excuse me. Yeah, this is very thinly sliced beef, which I got at Wegmans also. And this, you just put it when you're making your bowl. You put this on the top raw, and the hot broth is supposed to cook it, because this is like paper thin beef. So the hot broth cooks it in the matter of seconds. So it's tender, you know, it's all about the tenderness. And I saw these in the freezer section at Wegmans. They have a nice selection of Asian foods. So I picked up this, just keeping with the beef theme. I didn't feel like searching through all of my spices, so I picked up a pho seasoning packet at the international market this morning. And you can't make pho without rock sugar. Gotta have limes. I have cilantro here, fresh ginger, and green onion. There's the ginger. And I have the onions, regular onions, over there in the basket. I also picked up some sweet potatoes for the babies. And, of course, bean sprouts. So, all of this will be in my belly soon. I'm so hungry for it. Alright, so I've been making soup all day. It's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just stopped the crock pot. It's not the crock pot, this pressure cooker. And what I have in here is the oxtail, and I pressure cooked it for 30 minutes, but I think it needs maybe 15 more minutes. So I'm gonna put it back in for a little bit longer. The broth is done. The broth is like so done. It's delicious. There we go. Set this. What do we have? Meat. 15 minutes, perfect. And if I just leave it, it'll start. Perfect. Yeah, so the broth is done. I've got all the fixings already prepared. Everything's just in the fridge, staying fresh. But look at the broth. I've been skimming That's what all that is. Lots of fat, and that's like the extras, ginger, and there's still onions. Those were green onions that I put in there. And I've prepared some for Mom. Whew. Sorry about the steam. I turned it up so it'll boil some more. So that I can make my soup bowl. Anyway, so this is Mom's broth. And I put some of the very thinly sliced beef in it. I also put carrots in the pho broth. Not everyone does, but I have seen somebody do it before. And I've packed her some sriracha and some hoisin sauce to go. And this is her bowl with some beef and her rice noodles, and that's an oxtail piece. I mean, it's done. It's not done. It's just, I want it to be falling off the bone tender. There's the beef that I pulled out of, the beef that I pulled out of the broth, and there's still some bones in it. Bones in the broth. These are the rice noodles, and then all the fixins are in the fridge. What I have is lime. Usually you would use Napa cabbage, but I bought a Savoy cabbage because the Napa cabbage was way too big. And I also had some Swiss chard that I picked from the garden, so I used the Swiss chard, and I discarded the stems, so I'll let Mom feed that to the chickens. What else? Very thinly sliced sweet onion that I used the mandolin to slice, and then also cilantro and green onion. So that's everything, and I'll show you what it looks like once I build my bowl. That's the next step after that finishes. Okay, so I just made the sauce for marinating my oxtails. There's not much. It's just a few, a small package of oxtails. They were expensive. $23 for 6. Anyway, so I'm gonna wash those first before I put them in this marinade, and then I'll stick it in the fridge. And I'm not gonna cook the oxtails in the pot of water like I'm doing with everything else. So this is just the pre-boil. I've got it started. It's almost 5 a.m. basically 5 a.m. And I put the 2 soup bones in there, beef bones. They've got some beef and fat and just a small bone really that I got from Wegmans, and then I put the whole pack of beef short ribs in there. So I'm gonna bring up the water to a boil. I put some salt and cut up 3 limes and squeezed all the juice, and I just threw them all in there. So I'm gonna let them boil for a little while, so that like we get all of that like smudgy, like this scum out of the scum that comes out of the bones. So we get most of that out, and then I'm gonna take the meat out and then dump the water, because this is just a pre-boil. And then I'll rinse the meat and wash it off, and then put it back in this pot for the real boil. And then they'll cook, slow cook all day. Well, not all day, but for the better half of the morning, so that I can eat for lunch, hopefully by noon. So that gives me 7 hours to cook this, and I'm sure it'll be done before then. Yeah, and so I'll do all that once that comes to a boil. or I'm gonna let it boil for a little while. So the sauce, I have some dark soy sauce in there, a couple tablespoons of the apple cider vinegar, a couple tablespoons of rice vinegar, probably about a tablespoon of garlic paste, and equal amount of ginger paste. I just threw it away because I used the last of it. And and some hoisin. I squeezed some hoisin in there, and I also squeezed some oyster sauce in there. Give it a good mix, and it'll be ready to, it is ready now to coat the oxtails. And then I'll stick them in the fridge, and then I'm going to actually pressure cook them. So those will be so tender and yummy. Okay, so I just cleaned, dumped the previous pot of water and cleaned the bones and meat. Refilled the pot with some fresh water, put the bones back in, put some salt in there. I put about maybe 2 teaspoons of Better Than Bouillon beef base, and I'm gonna put some fish sauce later, not right now. And right now I'm dry roasting the spices. So you just dry roast them, wake them up a little bit, and then I bought the packet, so I'm just gonna put them all in here and throw this in the soup pot, and that way it'll be easier for me to fish them out. But what's in here is cinnamon, some fresh cinnamon bark, brown cardamom. I threw in some green cardamom, those little pods there, star anise, black peppercorn, I think there's, what is it called? Oh, it's so fragrant. The clove, there's some clove in there. And what else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Yeah, there's clove. These are cloves. Anyway, it's all very, scent-wise, smells like licorice from the, oh, there's also licorice in there. I don't know if that's like an actual plant, but that's what the packet said. It said licorice. I don't know what that looks like, but definitely the star anise smells like licorice. And now my fingers smell like it. Ooh, I love that scent. I love me some licorice too. Anyway, you gotta keep it moving so that it doesn't burn. But you just want to wake up those flavors. I don't know what this is either. That doesn't look like cinnamon, like this one. Looks like something else. Anyway. So once that's done, I'll throw the packet in here and let it come to a boil, and then it'll just simmer for a few hours. And I have the oxtail in the fridge just marinating right now, and then I'll sear those later and pressure cook those later also. And there's lots of fixins. There's cilantro that I need to wash and pick from the stem. I didn't get any Thai basil. Usually Thai basil goes in your pho, but I totally forgot to get that while I was at the international market today, or yesterday actually. And what else? There's green onion. There is usually, I guess, red onion or white onion, sweet onion, whatever you want to use. You very, very finely slice the onion. So I'm going to use the mandolin to do that very carefully. And ooh, it's starting to smoke. Smoking. That's when you can turn it off. Turn it off. Let it cool down, and then stick everything in the bag. Keep it moving. What else? Oh, lime. Fresh lime. So you just cut up a lime, quarter it, or cut it in eighths. And then there's mung bean sprouts. And then also the beef dumplings that I bought at Wegmans yesterday. So all of those things will go in the soup, in your bowl once you, once it's done, when you're fixing your bowl. And then on top of all of that, you would typically use some hoisin salt. You just squirt some hoisin and sriracha if you like it spicy, or just it just really depends on how much you put in. Whatever your spice level is, but I like to use both. It just isn't right without this, at least a little bit of sriracha and lime. It has to have lime in it, fresh squeezed lime. Anyway, I'm super excited. Can't wait. Oh, and of course the rice noodles. The rice noodles. So, yeah. We're at the front patio. Did some work out here this morning. Not really much that you can see. I tied up the tomatoes and this trellis too. I tied up those ones up at the top, just trying to train them all. Cut a few of the yellowing branches, leaves. Harvested my very first cucumber and discovered a couple more growing down there. And planted that pepper right there. That's a shishito. Have lots of tomatoes on this plant that need to be harvested. I'm just waiting for the water to dry up. They say in the heat of the day is the best time to harvest your tomatoes, because that's when they have less water. I guess the sugars are condensed. And I've eaten a few, but I have some sun golds. These ones are quite large, actually. Last year they weren't quite as large as these ones are. Different plant strain, I guess. And then down below here, you can see the 4 peppers that I planted. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I just sprinkled some fertilizer beads. This is like slow release Osmocote down there. That's what all those little pearls are. I'm letting these suckers grow. There's quite a few down here on the tomato. This one is the Green Doctor cherry tomato, grape tomato, whatever it is. And I'm gonna let these suckers grow because it's quite bare down at the bottom, which is good because I have those peppers growing there. But I want to get some. I want it to be different than the way I've trained this one over here. I cleared out all the suckers that were really low, and so therefore this bottom part of the trellis doesn't really have much fruit growing on it. It's all up at the top, all up there, and it's really hard to reach when it's that high. When it's time to harvest. So mental note for next year, don't trim all the suckers so short. Anyway, there's a sucker growing right there that I spotted. I'm letting it grow. You see it? That sucker there. Anyway, I'm gonna let that grow and develop some fruit for me. And I'll pick these later. But finally got those peppers planted. And I did a little bit of work in the back patio too. I'll show you. What's the first thing you notice when you walk out the door? There's a walkway. All the extras, they're gone. I packed my car this morning with all the plants that I had lining here. Minus the peppers. I planted the peppers. I put one there. That's the tam jalapeno. And one here. It's a corbachi. And then I made this little fence trellis to keep the peppers contained in case they droop. Trimmed all the molding, dead, yellow leaves off of the squash here. And I could have sworn I had a little baby squash growing last week on one of these, but I don't see it. It must not have germinated or been fertilized. Fertilized, that's not the word. What am I looking for? What the bees do, pollinate. There's bees all over these plants, as you can see. Lots of bumblebees. That there looks like a honeybee taking a bath. And that flower. And lots of males. Not so many females yet. I did the same thing with this plant, sort of same concept. Tied it up to give it some airflow. And gave this pot some fertilizer too. It needs it. But look at these baskets with these two peppers in it. I think these two are jalapenos. Doing really well for, you know, such a shallow growth space for all the roots. Anyway, sprinkled some Osmocote on these two baskets also. And amaranth on this side is starting to develop its tassels. And the purple potted pole beans sort of calmed down. I picked all the beans that it had previously. I haven't had to pick them in quite a few days. There's one here that I need to pick. Lots of bumblebees. And it's growing. Finally making its way up to the top. On this side, this is the this one is the Chinese red noodle bean. And I've already spotted some. Here's one. This was the first one that I spotted. And just look at the beautiful flowers. Aren't they pretty? How pretty are those? These ones are beautiful too. They're very purple. And just look at all the marigolds. They're bursting. Finally bursting. I picked a few. Now look at these beans here. I'm letting them, oh, this one, oh, okay, good, it's still connected. I'm letting these two go so that I can collect seeds, beans from them for seed. And there's one on the other side too. Here's a bean that I'll be able to pick in a couple of days. Anyway, it's starting to produce some more flowers now, so I can have another round of beans coming in. Still have a bunch in the fridge that I haven't done anything with yet, so I'm gonna be picking those. And these bush beans are still, they kind of took a little break, but they've got flowers all over them, so they're gonna be ready for harvesting soon. Also, I just spotted one that I need to pick. There And I gotta be careful because I'm standing on my tippy toes, just balancing. There we go. Oh, another one. These ones are just hiding on the inside from me. You can't see them, but I can. Here we go. Quite a few more. Some of them are really short also. Oh, here's one. It's ready. And some more will be ready in a few days, it looks like. I didn't expect to come out here and harvest on this little video, but what a treat. I'll come back and search when that grass isn't so wet. Look at the tassels on this amaranth here. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. My buckets, my pots here with the creeping Jenny are finally doing what I wanted to do. Finally. And my chives, I gave it a haircut the other day and used some of them. I'll probably come out and get some more later for the pho. Nice little harvest. Has it been 5 minutes? Yep, my timer's going off. I set the timer because I have the ginger and the onion under the broiler. I tasted the soup and I was like, something is definitely missing. It's the ginger and the onion. So let me get that out of the oven. It's 11:10. Says AM, but it's PM. Just got home from taking Mom's food to her, and I turned the pot on high so it can start boiling. It's probably boiling now. I put a few dumplings in here to steam. And now I'm building my bowl. So I have the rice noodles at the bottom. This is the meat. So this is the meat that cooked in the broth. This is the oxtail. And so I have a little bit of everything. One oxtail, some of the beef that cooked. And this is the very thinly sliced shaved beef. So yes, it is raw. But when you pour the boiling hot broth on top, it cooks immediately. So it's perfectly safe. People eat bleeding meat all the time. So nothing wrong with that. Anyway, I'm going to put some onions. Lots of onions, actually, because these basically disappear in the broth. I'm going to have some green onions as well. Lots of green onions. This bowl is going to be packed full. Cilantro everywhere. And then I still have all of this as well. This is some Savoy cabbage. This one here is Swiss chard. It doesn't really look very pretty right now, but trust me, it's delicious. I dropped some on the floor. Okay, so now I need to take this bowl over to the stove to fill it up with some broth. But I can't do that holding the phone, so we'll come back. Alright, so the broth is in the bowl. I boiled carrots in the broth also. Love me some carrots. Not everybody puts carrots in their pho, but I saw one person do it before on a video, so I tried it and I love the carrots. They're seasoned so well from just being in the broth with all of those yummy spices that flavored it. So I added a couple of those of the carrots to my bowl. I put some bean sprouts. No pho is complete without lime you have to have lime. So I've got half a lime. I squeezed it in already. And the dumplings are ready. These are called shopa. They're beef. I don't know if it's Japanese or Korean or whatever, but they looked delicious, so I decided to buy some actually at the store. This is the sriracha and hoisin going in, a little bit everywhere. Sorry, I'm a terrible cameraman. All right, so that should be good. Got my chopsticks, and oh, I need to get my Asian spoon for drinking the broth. I haven't eaten all day. All day. I mean, this morning when I woke up at midnight, like literally a whole 24 hours ago, I ate some frittata. That's what I had. And coffee and water all day. Look at them babies. I'm just gonna cop a squat on the floor here and enjoy my pho. I don't know if I can do it. Maybe my eyes were bigger than my stomach. Excuse me. Yeah, man. This is, I mean, it's a pretty substantial sized bowl. And it was filled probably to the top, like right here at least, with broth. So I ate a lot. And still got this entire oxtail to eat. The dogs are just dying. Jackson's been, hi puppy. He's been begging. Aren't you adorable? Aren't you adorable? And Sadie, she's just waiting patiently. Hi, baby. Yeah, I ate my dumplings. They were delicious. I still have a whole bunch left in the freezer, so another day, another meal. But this is really delicious. It's lost its heat. Maybe if it were hotter, maybe if I stick it in the microwave, it'll be better. It's just better if it's warmer than it is now. But delicious. I still probably have half a bowl left to eat. I'll just eat on it little by little. Little by little. So much beef in here. Well, it's not pork, so I could share the beef with my babies. I don't ever give them pork when I'm eating pork. Anyway, super delicious. If you have time to make it one day, you should totally do it. In the winter, not in the summer like I did just now. But in the winter, or just go to a restaurant, let them do it. But I will say, everything is so much better, like better quality when you cook it at home. Because I've been to the restaurants, and although they are delicious, I feel like the sliced beef that they give you is like, it's gray, and that's not very palatable. But the beef that I used, you purchase whatever beef you want. Like, you don't have to get the low grade beef that turns gray and looks disgusting, That oxtail is so good and tender. But what I'm saying is, the quality of the ingredients that you purchase for your own meal, while making it at home, is that it just you can't surpass it at the restaurant. I mean, unless it's a restaurant where it's like 5-star quality, but you don't get that at a pho restaurant. So, anyway, make it at home. If you have all day to, at least 6 hours to all day to simmer the broth, do it. And you won't regret it. The flavor is delicious. Listen to him trying to get my attention. He really wants this soup. You okay, baby? What? Grumpy? Mr. Grumpy? Why are you all up in my face, huh? With your grumpy self. What? Jackson? Get out of my face, dude. He's literally crawling up in my face, lifting his lip, growling at me like he's gonna bite me. How rude. Hi, Mommy. You doing okay? How rude. Little dude.